You're not lazy. Let me say that again. You are not lazy. But somewhere along the way, you started believing you were. Meet Daniel, 28 years old, smart, capable, full of ideas. But every morning, he woke up with a weight on his chest. A list of things to do, goals he wanted to chase, dreams he used to talk about, and yet, nothing. He'd scroll his phone for an hour, watch videos, refresh the same apps. Then guilt would creep in. Why can't I just get up and do it? Everyone else has their life together. What's wrong with me? He called himself lazy. His family called him lazy. Even his friends joked about it. And Daniel started to believe it was true. But here's what nobody told him. Laziness isn't real. Not the way we think it is. What we call laziness is often something much deeper. It's fear wearing a disguise. It's burnout pretending to be apathy. It's your mind protecting you from something you're not ready to face. One night, Daniel sat in his room staring at his laptop. He had a business idea, a good one, something he'd been thinking about for months. But every time he opened a blank document to start planning, his brain shut down. Not because he didn't care, but because somewhere deep inside, a voice whispered, "What if you fail? What if people laugh at you? What if you're not good enough?" And his body responded the only way it knew how, by doing nothing. Because doing nothing felt safer than risking everything. That's when Daniel came across something that changed his perspective forever. A concept called learned helplessness. It's a psychological state where you've tried so many times and failed that eventually you stop trying altogether. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is trying to protect you from more pain. Daniel realized something. He wasn't lazy. He was terrified. Terrified of disappointment, of judgment, of proving his doubts right. And his so-called laziness? It was just his mind's way of avoiding that fear. But here's the truth most people never learn. Your resistance is not your enemy. It's a signal. It's your subconscious trying to tell you something. Maybe you're overwhelmed. Maybe you're burnt out. Maybe you're chasing a goal that doesn't even align with who you really are. Daniel sat with that realization, and instead of forcing himself to just do it, he asked a different question. Why am I really avoiding this? The answer surprised him. He wasn't afraid of failure. He was afraid of success, because success meant change, responsibility, stepping into a version of himself he didn't know yet. And that was scarier than staying stuck. So Daniel made a choice, not to conquer his fear overnight, but to honor it. He broke his big goal into the smallest possible step. Not launch a business, just research one thing for 10 minutes. That's it. No pressure, no judgment. And something magical happened. He did it. Then the next day, he did it again. Not because he suddenly became disciplined, but because he stopped treating himself like the enemy. He stopped calling himself lazy. He started calling himself human. 3 months later, Daniel's business idea was real. Not perfect, not finished, but alive. And the most surprising part, he didn't need motivation. He didn't need to hustle or grind. He just needed to stop believing the lie that something was wrong with him. So, here's the lesson. You are not lazy. You are overwhelmed. You are afraid. You are protecting yourself. And that's okay. But it's time to stop letting that label define you. Because once you understand what's really holding you back, you can finally start moving forward. Not by forcing yourself, but by understanding yourself. So, ask yourself tonight, what am I really afraid of? What is my resistance trying to protect me from? And what's the smallest step I can take, not to prove anything to anyone, but just to prove to myself that I'm still here, still capable, still worthy. Because you are. You always have been. You're not lazy. You're just learning how to be kind to the person you've been too hard on for too long, yourself.